Good morning from Zagreb, Croatia. I arrived here after Belgrade. The flight was at midnight basically, so I arrived here around, the plane landed around 10, and then I got into the city with the city bus, which was like, needed to wait half an hour, so at 11 basically, needed to walk over here, which is not, it's kind of 20 minutes. But then the next problem was finding some food because everything was closed because of Corona. So I was walking around with my luggage. Eventually I found something, and this is where I am. And yeah, it's a good location. I'm exactly in the center basically. And yeah, I mean, just show you my room quickly. It's very big bed, comfortable bed, closet, television, etc. Seat. The outside view is not so interesting, but basically there is immediately the street, so it's very easy exit. And this is the rest of the house, a bit dark.
So the apartment was great, the location was great, the only downside was the host, unfortunately. This was one of those situations that reading the reviews would have been a good idea. The first thing was that they asked 15 euros to use the washing machine. So I just went to the laundromat instead in the same street, which cost me just, I think, 2 euros. It wasn't a big problem, it's just the principle, because it's obvious that they try to use tourists for their money in this way. And another thing was that the first day I was there, I was supposed to meet a friend. She came all the way from Italy and was only staying for 1 day. So I asked the host if it was okay if she came inside to rest and maybe take a shower. They asked again a fee for that, so I had to pay that too. And in the end, she gave me a bad review for being a bad person. But I saw she does this with a lot of people.
So yeah, that's it basically. It's a good location, very nice bed, and definitely worth it.
This is one of the many beautiful parks you can find between the station and the main square. And in and around the parks you will find a lot of majestic looking museums reminding you of their Austro-Hungarian past. In fact, Zagreb has a surprising amount of museums. Next to the usual art, history and cultural museums, they have a museum of broken relationships, illusions, naive art, torture museum, and a mushroom museum. This square is roughly 400 years old, but in more recent time it is famous for the fall of communism in Croatia. But nowadays it's used for fairs, markets and concerts, and a general meeting place for the local Zagrebians. This cathedral is the second biggest building of Croatia, and it was roughly built 800 years ago, and it survived for centuries until the earthquake of 1880. It was badly damaged and it was rebuilt in the style we see today. Unfortunately, the earthquake of 2020 damaged it again. One of the things that I really love about Zagreb is that it has a small town feel, even though it's the capital of a country. First of all, the center is mostly car-free, so this allows you to walk around and even bike around calmly. This allows you to enjoy the charming cafes and good restaurants in peace.
They eat a lot of meat.
Well, yes, Balkan or Slav people always have a lot of meat.
This gate is part of Old Zagreb, and it dates back all the way to the 13th century, which makes it one of the oldest buildings of the city. Next to its age, it's also famous for the altar of the Virgin Mary, which is based on a legend of a painting, which you can see hanging here behind the gate, that supposedly survived a fire, undamaged. It was supposedly found with a burned frame, but the painting itself was untouched. This gave the painting a holy status, and it was subsequently hung inside the stone gate for people to come and worship it. On the walls you can see a lot of stone tablets. Written on them are phrases of gratitude for the Virgin Mary by the people. This is the most popular tourist attraction of Zagreb, and you can see why. The beautiful roof tiles showcase the coat of arms of Zagreb. It was constructed by the Austrians, inspired by the Cathedral of Vienna. The recent renovation took up to 25 years, but the result is absolutely stunning. Zagreb became a city when the Hungarian king Bela IV gave them the Golden Ball in 1242, basically a proclamation stating that Zagreb was a free city, not ruled by local rulers or the church, but directly by the king. In return, Zagreb was obligated to build fortifications around the city, which we can still see everywhere around us. This was a thank you for protecting the king during the Mongol invasions, and also in general it was part of a strategy to protect the Croatian-Hungarian Empire against the Mongol invasions. On top of the city walls we can find the Strosmayer Promenade, and it's a little bit like a Croatian Montmartre because it's full of musicians and wall art. It also has a great panoramic view of the city, so altogether it's a very romantic location, and that's why it's used for dates a lot. One thing that you will notice is that you can find a lot of wall art and murals everywhere, because the people wanted to cover up the boring communist buildings with colorful graffitis. There's also a wall art park, and you can take a tour if you want. Oh, and this is me trying to be funny. Did you get it? The funicular is basically a tram that takes you up or downhill. It was originally constructed in 1890. And even though it has been renovated many times, it still has its original look. It's hard to imagine, but originally the carts were built for 28 people. But this barely happens, of course. The ride takes a whopping 1 minute, and it's one of the shortest funiculars in the world. So in fact, this one takes you from the old city down to the main street, or vice versa. It's important to remember that it's not an attraction, but it's actual public transportation. You have to buy a real ticket at the ticket booth. Here we are at one of the many entrances to Gris Tunnel. It's a tunnel that goes underneath the old town, and was built during World War II by the fascist Ustasha regime. But after the war it was mostly forgotten, and mostly used by homeless people and drugs dealers, until it was used in 1993 for the first rave of Croatia. Eventually it was renovated and opened for tourists. As I told you before, the first day I was meeting a friend, so I didn't really film anything. One of her ideas was to visit the Mirogi Cemetery. Because of its architecture, it's considered one of the most beautiful cemeteries of Europe. So we rented some electric city bikes to bike up the hill towards the cemetery, but of course mine was broken, so I was basically dead on arrival from exhaustion, but at least I fitted in with the crowd. And when we finally wanted to explore the cemetery, we were eaten alive by mosquitoes. So we left again. Interesting to know is that people from every religious background are welcome in this cemetery, because it's a state-owned cemetery. But apart from the fact that it's full of dead people, it's a very beautiful cemetery. Zagreb by night is absolutely mesmerizing, and you will see a very clear difference between the old town and the new parts of the town. The difference being that the old town still uses 214 gas lanterns that are 150 years old. That makes Zagreb one of only 3 European cities that still uses this method. At night, my friend and I went back to the old town to enjoy the quiet and empty streets in the beautiful light of the lanterns. And the good thing of having a drone is that you can admire the beauty from above. In the end, we had a full day of adventures and it was great catching up because she's a true free spirit and a real travel inspiration. Because she has lived many years in Japan, has seen most of Asia and just now started a new adventure in New Zealand. So I recommend following her adventure. This night I was already pretty tired and not really in the mood to do anything anymore. But I pushed myself anyway and took the bike and went to a random park, not knowing if there was anything to do at this time of the day. So you can imagine how happily surprised I was to find this park full of life. Woodland Park is a recently renovated park. Because of this, it has become one of the most popular places to visit by the locals. And especially in the summer, it's full of life. First of all, you can enjoy the nice flower perks, and the people come there for the little lake. You have 10 barbecue locations, you have a bike path, children's playground, and even one for disabled children. Overall, I must really say that Zagreb has this open-minded and free-spirited feeling. The atmosphere is great, you never feel uncomfortable or unsafe in the city, and they have great summer vibes, so it's the best place to spend your time. But then the most amazing thing was that there was an open-air cinema, which was absolutely amazing, and everybody was just watching, everything was chill and relaxed. It was really great summer vibes.
I'm walking Rosalie to the supermarket. Now listen, I'm going to be back in a now. Because they might have that long legs in them. Hey, Mikey, go to the bathroom.
Here I came across this university park, which is a recently opened park, and supposed to greet visitors entering the city. The fountains display shows of water surrounded by beautiful flowers. The only downside is the noise of the traffic. Zagreb has become a very modern city in the last decades, and especially since Croatia joined the European Union, has become a hotspot for tourists, but mostly around the coast. So therefore I think that Zagreb is still a little bit underrated, which is a good thing because you can enjoy the city without it being crowded with tourists, not like in places like Dubrovnik, for example, which we will see in a later episode. So I recommend Zagreb for its rich history, great cuisine, interesting culture, but above all, the small town feel. So right now I'm in the car going to Sarajevo, Bosnia-Herzegovina. It's a nice car, it's a Renault Megane. The roads are very good. And yeah, just driving as quick as possible. Got my phone plugged in, music
driving on. Roads are nice and clear and good quality. So let's get to Sarajevo. So I crossed the first part of the border, and this other part of the border will be soon, I think. So let's see if I can get into Bosnia. I could get out of Croatia, so let's see if I can get into Bosnia. But here we have the border crossing, and they don't like to film, so that's gonna be it.
Hello. Hello, this is Professor Fiction with 3 facts about Zagreb. Fact number 1. One of the symbols of Zagreb is the Lotsak Tower, which is around 800 years old and located on the before mentioned Strossmayer Promenade. Its name comes from its bell inside the tower, called Thieves' Bell, which was used in the Middle Ages to signal the city gates to close for the night to prevent thieves from entering. Nowadays, the tower fires its cannon every day at 12 o'clock to signal the churches in the city to ring their bells. So if you hear a loud bang in the city nowadays, you will know what it means. There you have it. Fact number 1. Fact number 2. Croatia has a surprising connection with fashion. You wouldn't expect it at first, but Croatia has invented the tie. Yes, the tie you wear with your suit. So the story goes that during the 30 Years' War in the 17th century, Croatian mercenaries were fighting for France. While in Paris, the Parisians were mesmerized by the scarves that the Croatians were wearing around their necks, in a form that looks like a tie today. The French called the tie cravat, after the word Croat in Croatian. But they mispronounced the word and called it cravat. That sounds like a French thing to do, doesn't it? Anyway, the French took the concept and made it fashionable, and the rest is history. There you have it, fact number 2. Fact number 3. In Zagreb, you will see one unique souvenir everywhere: the Lisitar biscuits. They are traditional ornamental gifts for love or celebrations and can be found in Slovenia and northern Croatia. It's an old tradition originating from the 16th century. They were considered more precious to receive than flowers, for example. They are still handmade and take up to 5 weeks to make. So if you're feeling very romantic and you're wondering what to give as a gift in Zagreb, then you'll know what to get. There you have it. There you have it. 3 facts about Zagreb that you didn't know, and now you do. So that was Professor Fiction signing off for this time. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Hey, hello!
Hello there.
How are you? I hope you enjoyed the episode of Zagreb. As you saw, it was pretty interesting and there's a lot to do in this very tiny but big city. So yeah, let's head over to the postcard and magnet part. So here we have a postcard. It's wood, you can hear it, with the emblem of the city, the hearts, the Lisitar biscuits, as you can see over here, and with all the important places of the city basically on the card. So yeah, I thought it was pretty unique because it is wood first of all, and you can actually send wooden cards. So yeah, it's quite funny. And it arrived in one piece, so that was good.
Yeah.
So yeah, here again is the recipient to read it to you again.
Very original idea.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, let's have a look. Right. Okay, let's try this first. That's better. Good day, Dad. Zagreb is an amazing city. It feels like a village, but with the size of a city. It looks a bit like Bratislava. There are many parks and markets here, and it is very vibrant. You can even swim in one of the parks. Here they also had an open-air cinema. The city has a lot of influences from different kingdoms and empires. So you can see many styles of architecture. It's also very modern. Have a lot of street art on walls as well. They sell a lot of ties here because they originally came from Croatia. Now I'm going to pick up the car to drive to Bosnia and Herzegovina for the next 5 hours. The next destination will be Sarajevo. Bye, see you then. Jason. Bye.
Yeah, so that's indeed the next destination, Sarajevo. It's gonna be a very interesting place, as you will see in the next episode. But yeah, that's more or less what we could see in the video. And next to that, of course, I also bought a magnet, and this time it's also wood. And it's from olive tree wood with a little tiny tile or stone basically on it, with the image of the vernacular and the tower with the cannon, and of course with the outlining of Croatia. So I also thought it was pretty unique, and in the idea of having wooden stuff, I thought it was a good match. So yeah, gonna finish this episode with a final homage to another musician, the musician of the Strossmayer Promenade. So take it away.
No, take it away. See you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.